Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Foot Forecast. In today's video, I'm going to be going through my championship predictions for game week 37. And I'm going to start off with Leicester at home to Bristol City. And Leicester going into this game, they are struggling. They're currently in 22nd place in the championship. They are coming off a decent result away at Ipswich, picking up a point there. But they haven't won in their last 11 games, which is a massive concern for Leicester. They also haven't kept a clean sheet in their last 11 games. They've also only scored 5 goals in their last 5 matches, so the stats aren't good for Leicester going into this game. Bristol City isn't much better. They haven't kept a clean sheet in their last 8 games. They haven't scored in their last 2 matches, and they've only scored 3 goals in their last 5 matches. So Bristol City aren't much better. Their form going into this game also isn't great. 1 win in their last 6. So I think for this game, I'm actually going to go with a draw between these two sides. Bristol City will be looking definitely to win this game because they'll still be hoping for a late playoff push because they are 7 points behind Wrexham. But I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw between Leicester City and Bristol City. Then we're on to the next game, which is between Millwall and Derby. This looks like a really good game, actually, between two sides near the top of the champ. Millwall going into this game a 3rd place in the championship, and all of a sudden they look like a potential playoff contender. Looking at Derby are currently 7th place in the championship, and they're 3 points behind Wrexham, who have a game in hand. What's been so impressive about Derby this season is actually their away records. They're 5th place in the away table despite struggling at home, and they will fancy themselves to get something from this game. But I'm going to go with a Millwall win against Derby. I've been really impressed by Millwall recently. Their form going into this game is good. So for this reason, I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Millwall over Derby. Millwall have also kept the most clean sheets in the division. Derby have been decent recently, picking up 3 wins in their last 5, but I think this may be a loss for them in this game. So then we're on to the next game, which is between Portsmouth and Swansea. Going to this game, Portsmouth are 19th in the table, Swansea are 14th. I've been impressed by Portsmouth recently. Despite maybe not picking up the wins, I think they've actually looked good. Swansea have looked really good at home recently, not losing in their last 10 at home, but this game is away. But they do have the top goal scorer in the championship in Vopomnik, and they've also got Josh Tyam, who's picked up the 2nd most big chances created this season. It's going to be interesting, this game, and I think it's going to be a tight game between these two sides. But I actually think Portsmouth may nick a win in this game. As I've said, I've been impressed by them recently. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Portsmouth over Swansea in this game. Then we're on to the next game, which is between Sheff Wednesday and Watford. And Sheff Wednesday have already been relegated to League One. They haven't picked up a point since the new year. So this should be a simple win for Watford in this game. Watford's form's been alright going to this game under Ed still. They've picked up 2 wins in their first 3 games under his manager, and I think it will be a 3rd win for Watford. They're currently in 9th place in the table, and there's still a bit of hope for playoffs. I'm going to go with a convincing 3-0 away win for Watford over Wednesday. So then we're on to the next game, which is between Wrexham and Hull. Wrexham's form going into this game is really good. They picked up 3 wins in their last 5 games in all competitions. One of those drop points games was in the FA Cup, though, against Chelsea, where they actually played really well, and they're unlucky to get nothing from that game. Looking at Hull's form's not been great recently. They're actually quite good in the last game against Millwall despite not picking up a result, and in their previous games I've not been convinced by Hull at all. They've looked poor in a lot of them. So I expect this to be a difficult game for Hull. I expect a low scoring game between these two sides, and if Hull do pick up something from this game, they're probably going to score on the counter or on the breakaway. And I don't expect Hull to have a lot of shots in this game, but I am actually going to go with the Wrexham win. I'm really being convinced by Wrexham recently, so I'm going to go with a 3-1 win for Wrexham over Hull. I reckon this could be quite convincing. Then we're on to the next game, which is between Stoke and Ipswich, and a crucial player that's out for this game for Stoke is Sorba Thomas, as well as Johansson's also out in goal. So Stoke have problems going into this game. Stoke's form also isn't great recently, only picking up 1 win in their last 5, which was at home to Oxford. Looking at Ipswich are starting to really roll, picking up 3 wins in their last 3 games, but they did just draw their last game at home to Leicester, which was a disappointing result in that game. But I do expect Ipswich to win this game quite comfortably. They're the way better side, and I'm going to go with a convincing win for Ipswich. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win for Ipswich. They've scored 10 goals in their last 5 games. I think a slight concern for Ipswich potentially going into this game is that they are 10th place in the away table, so they're not actually a great side away from home. So then we're on to the next game, which is between Birmingham and QPR. Blues have just lost their last 3 games in a row. A really disappointing result away at Charlton was the last defeat. And that game was poor from Blues. They offered absolutely nothing. And it was, to be honest, a bit of a disgrace from Birmingham. But despite this poor result, they're not actually a bad side at home, Birmingham. So I think they can get something from this game. And I actually expect them to probably win this game against QPR. I'm just not convinced by QPR. They're a very inconsistent side, and it's hard to predict games for them. If you look at their recent form, they won 1 game away at Hull, but then they lost 5-0 to Southampton, 3-1 to Blackburn, 2-0 to Sheffield United, and 0-0 with Charlton. So they get all sort of results due at QPR. I think for this game, I'm going to go with a pretty convincing Birmingham win. I'm going to go with a 3-0 win for Birmingham in this game. Something of note is QPR have won their last 2 games against Birmingham, but I don't think it will happen this time. QPR also haven't scored in their last 2 matches, and they've only scored 4 goals in their last 5 games. So recently they've been struggling to put the ball in the back of the net. I would just like to add that this was recorded before Borough QPR, so the results may have been slightly different, which actually brings me on to the next game, which is between Borough and Charlton. And as I've just said, this has been recorded before Borough and QPR. And Borough definitely go into this game as favourites. They won their last game as of recording against Birmingham away from home, winning 3-1. A very good result for them, but before this, they hadn't won in their last 3. And Borough have started to struggle in the Championship after going on a 6-game winning streak. Looking at Charlton picked up a crucial result at home to Birmingham. What a 3 points that was in that game, but before this their form was mixed, 2 losses and 2 draws. I expect Charlton to make it difficult for Borough in this game, but I do expect Borough to go and win. Charlton's away form isn't great. They're 21st on the away table, and Borough are a strong side at home. They're 3rd place on the home table, and Borough are 2nd place in the Championship right now. So for this reason, I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Borough over Charlton. So then we've got Norwich at home to Sheffield United, 2 sides that are likely to finish around the mid-table by the end of the season. Neither side is going to be relegated, but it doesn't look like either side will be able to push into the playoffs. Norwich have won 4 out of their last 5, and they've been flying under Clement since he's taken over. And if Norwich started the season under Clement, they'd probably be in the playoffs, if not in the automatic promotion position. Looking at Sheffield United, their form going into this game is good, but they just had a disappointing result at home to West Brom, drawing 1-0, and a game which you would have expected them to win because Albion have been struggling a lot recently. For this game, I'm going to back the Norwich win because I've liked what I've seen from them recently, and I'm going to go over 2-1 win for Norwich over Sheffield United. Then we're on to the next game, which is between Oxford and Blackburn. A big game for both sides. Oxford winning their last 2 games against Preston North End and West Brom, and this is another opportunity for them to keep picking up results. And what's going to be crucial for Oxford, it's going to be set pieces. We saw in their last 2 games, 4 out of 5 of their goals came from set pieces. A player like Brannigan's definitely going to be a key player for Oxford in this game. Looking at Blackburn, they have been better recently. They've picked up 7 points in their last 5 games with 2 wins over Preston and QPR, and a draw in their last game against Portsmouth, but I wasn't convinced by their performance at all in this game. And I actually think I'm going to go with an Oxford win. They're at home. I'm going to back Oxford here. I'm going to go with a 1-0 win for Oxford over Blackburn. I think it's going to be a pretty poor game, though, between these 2 sides. So then we've got the Baggies at home to Southampton, 2 sides at opposite ends of the Championship table. You've got West Brom, who haven't won in the Championship since December, and you've got Southampton, who've won 4 out of their last 5 in all competitions. including a 4-3 win over Leicester and that 5-0 win over QPR. I've really liked what I've seen from Southampton recently, and it's really hard to see West Brom getting something from this game. And unfortunately for the Baggies, they're probably going to start picking up points in these sort of games. Otherwise, they're just going to get dragged into the relegation zone. But I really can't see this happening for them. I'm going to go with a bit of a Southampton demolition job here. I'm going to go with a 3-0 win away for Southampton. Southampton have scored 15 goals in their last 5 matches, and they haven't lost against West Brom in their last 5 meetings. Cienza is going to be crucial for this game as he's ranked number 1 in terms of big chances created. Then we're on to the final game, which is between Cov and Preston, and Coventry are flying right now in the Championship. They've won 5 out of their last 5 games. They're ranked number 1 for home form, and that's what's been crucial for them all season. They've only dropped 9 points at home out of the 17 games. They're also top of the Championship, 8 points clear now of Borough, but Borough did have that game in hand against QPR, so the gap may be shorter now. And it's really hard to see Coventry losing this game. They've scored 11 goals in their last 5 matches, and Preston haven't won in their last 5. They're really lacking creativity. They've only scored 4 goals in their last 5 games. They haven't kept the clean sheet. And they're just not a good side to watch at all right now, Preston. And for this reason, I think this could be a big win for Coventry in this game. I'm going to go with a 3-0 win for Cov over Preston. Let me know your thoughts on these Championship predictions. And if you enjoy this video, subscribe to